Hello, I'm Marion Duncan and I'll be taking the reflection today. When I was young, my mother and my father would say I could get very vocal if something wasn't right or not fair. And my parents would say, "There she goes again, getting her soapbox out." And you know, as I get older, the more I get annoyed about little things. And my bugbear today is the roads and the state of them. Now, I don't think this is a small thing, and I'm not alone in complaining about the state of our roads and how many potholes there are, but we carry on and hope that someone will get around to fixing them properly, not just throw a shovelful of tar and hope that it will hold. It never does. Apart from being dangerous as cars try to swerve and avoid them, if you hit one of the potholes, it causes damage to your car. And oh, don't get me started about the amount of traffic on our roads. There I go again, getting into a rant. And it just shows how easily we can get upset about something we take for granted and yet are vital to our lives. Makes me think about the earliest roads, just tracks, but soon this changed as people wanted to visit other areas for trade or for occupation of new lands. We all know of the straight roads that the Romans built so they could occupy new countries and people. So they get us about. And nowadays, we couldn't live without roads. They can also be a metaphor for our lives. We are told to stay on the right path and that the road may have many turnings and dead ends, but we must try to get back on the right road for our lives. Many years ago, we had a board game called The Game of Life. I think it might be still in the cupboard somewhere, but you had to roll the dice to make decisions about school, relationships and employment. It was fun to play, but it was just a game, not real, and we can't get the two of them mixed up. Real life can be tough. That's why we should accept the help that is offered and realise that we are not alone. But we often don't see this, and we need to open our eyes and hearts to let Jesus into our lives. In the Bible story in Luke 24, we read how two believers are walking the road to Emmaus, a village outside Jerusalem, and they are discussing everything that has had happened in Jerusalem, how their leader has been crucified and yet risen from the tomb. A man joins them and asks what they're talking about. Well, they can't believe that he hasn't heard all the news and proceed to tell him all about Jesus and his followers and what had occurred in Jerusalem. As they reach Emmaus and it is getting dark, they persuade the stranger to stay with them and share a meal. As the stranger breaks bread, it is only then that they realise that the stranger is indeed Jesus. The Bible says their eyes were opened and they recognised him. Perhaps they were so upset and affected by all that had happened in those last few days to really look at the stranger, listen to what he had to say before they realised who he was. We often hear the term walk with Jesus used in the church, but what does that actually mean? In real life, walking with Jesus means hills and valleys, times when we will feel energised and raring to go, times when we feel weary and challenged, and there will be times we feel peaceful and comforted. There are many ways for us to recognise the nearness of Jesus. Spend time with him, talk to him, and listen to him. Think about how you build a relationship with anyone and use those skills to build your relationship with Jesus. His Spirit lives within you and is always available to us. But we have to ask ourselves, are we making ourselves available to him? So, before I rant again, maybe I should ask Jesus what I should do. I'd like to finish with the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you for being with me today.